Hi again, and welcome to the Raw Marriage Show, where nothing is taboo and nothing's off limits. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Zev Halpern, very excited to add a new feature to the show. So, introducing the Marriage Panel, a look at the serious and lighter side of marriage. We value your point of view, so let us know what's on your mind. Our guest panel tonight, sex therapist Kim Yost, top divorce attorney and author David Bullitt, and transformational coach Tara Carbo. We're talking marriage, good and not so good, the raw and pure marriage stuff that drives our relationships. Stay tuned in the months ahead for another new feature, the Marital Sex Ed Game, Raw Marriage Style, where we'll be debunking marriage myths and providing sensual ideas to enhance the intimate side of your marriage. On a personal note, I was asked to write a chapter in a new book called The Courage To. 9 authors discuss personal courage. We all have courage, we just have to find where it is inside. So check it out on Amazon. Please sit back, chillax, put aside the no way, no how attitude, and be encouraged while you consider some new ways to refresh, rekindle, and recharge your marriage. Here's today's Couples FYI. Why do you think we get married and couple up in the first place? Do you think it was attraction, lust, wanting to jump each other's bones? Yeah, that too. But we become couples first and foremost for safety and security. If your marriage has you arguing and yelling and fighting constantly, you're sending messages to each other's brains that your relationship is not a safe place, and fear begins to play a role. Our brains are working 24/7, identifying threatening situations. Threats create the fight-flight impulse. Harsh fighting is scary. It can be viewed by our brains as a true threat. Sure, you're angry at your spouse for many legitimate reasons, and you think you'll get their attention by yelling, and perhaps finally they'll do what you want them to do. Problem is, yelling only accomplishes the opposite of what you want. You move further apart from your partner because fear drives them away. Any of you look forward to a daily screaming barrage from your spouse? Not me. So here's a remedy. Practice soothing communication. Soothing is feel good, and most humans I know like it when it feels good, just like cool lotion on a burning red sunburn. Soothing messages say safety. Has anybody ever heard anything bad about soothing? Soothing is what we need lots more of in our relationships and in our world. So we can change our world even by starting at home. You know where charity begins. Soothing words and messages pull the two of you closer. Be assertive. Try to communicate in a soothing way by letting your spouse know how much you like it when you're being heard. I like it when you greet me with a hug and soothing greetings. That makes me look forward to being with you instead of dreading our marriage. I feel you're with me instead of constant bickering and fighting with me. Take a look at this, and we'll be right back to introduce you to our marriage panel. welcome back. One quick thing before I introduce the marriage panel. After the show, please log on to rechargeyourmarriagenow.com to claim all the amazing freebies, free stuff available for you to download. You won't be disappointed. And now, without further ado, let's meet our marriage panel. Tara Carbo is a certified coach and graduate of Accomplishment Coaching. Being in this work has made a tremendous impact on her 18 years of marriage and the raising of her 3 teenage children. Tara has been a wife, mother, and full-time entrepreneur since the age of 18 and has created what she and many others consider a wonderful and healthy life. Kim Yost is a sex therapist, attorney, and licensed clinical professional counselor. She provides sex therapy to individuals and couples who have issues with their sexuality, such as low desire, pain with intercourse, erectile dysfunction, sex addiction, kink, and polyamory. David Bullitt, among the DC area's top divorce lawyers by both Washingtonian and Bethesda Magazine, a partner with the law firm of Joseph Greenwald and Lake in Rockville. David has been married for 30 years and raised 4 daughters here in Montgomery County. He's also a published fiction author with his second novel, Because I Had to be published in late January 2017. This is the book? Give it a look.
Yeah.
Very nice. Very nice. So we're going to start off with a little icebreaker. I want you to take a look at a picture that's going to be on the monitor, and let's talk about, what it is. So Tara, take a shot at that, just right off the bat.
Oh man, well clearly they've been at it a while. Really bad communication. They're crossing in the night, and he can't hear her, she can't hear him, and it's frustrating. They might not be having good sex.
Why is she
either,
just
so.
standing there? Why is she taking it? Who knows? What do you think, David?
I'm hoping they'll find their way to my office in a couple of weeks.
Really? And that'll be it?
That's the way it looks like to me.
Who will get saved? Who
Well,
will get saved?
if you're a husband and you're talking to your wife that way, you're not going to be a husband for very long.
There
That's
you
been my
go.
experience.
All right, we got a top divorce attorney telling us about it. How about you? What do you think?
I
Is
doubt
that
they're
fair?
having sex either. Yeah. They just-
Or that somebody screams a lot during sex. Or something. I mean, I don't know. I'm hoping it's her. That she screams bloody murder, because she got to scream somewhere.
That's right.
For me, looking at that picture, it's very difficult, and absolutely they've been at it for a long time, and it could be, when I look at it, I say someone else was yelling at her in her life, and she's clearly adapted to that, and she maybe picked the guy unknowingly, the person who's going to yell at her, and as many people do, unfortunately, in their marriages. All right, so that was a good icebreaker, but let's move on, to a different issue. So there's a lot of marital discord. David Bullitt could tell us how many divorces he's seen, and there are people, what's a good marriage? What's a bad marriage for people at home? What's a good marriage? What's a bad marriage? Sure, there's many, many different kinds, but what's a good one?
Well, to me, what I've found in people coming to my office and who struggle, there's lots of struggles. You see 3 things consistently. 1, you see arguments over finances. 2, you see arguments over sex. And 3, you hear about people who don't have enough time to themselves. So there's that balance issue of not being able to, not the time with your spouse isn't important, because it is, but that time apart from that husband or wife also is important. And regularly, folks who are sitting in chair in my office don't have that, don't have good sex, or don't have sex at all. And certainly finances also plays a big part in struggles. And they're angry and they're upset, and life isn't the way that they thought it was going to be. In some cases, their children have grown up, and now we're sitting across the table reading the newspaper, and there she is in a big robe and hair drumped down and hadn't brushed her teeth in 3 days, and I'm saying to myself, what am I doing?
Oh, we're going to get to that, actually. You bring up an interesting thing, because we're going to get to that whole issue about domestication.
Yeah.
So what do you think? Kim, what's a good marriage?
I think you have to balance so marriage gives us stability and accountability and predictability and safety, but for the passion to stay alive, you need the unknown, the dangerous, the exciting, that kind of thing. So you have to make a balance of that, and people are really good at maybe being best friends, but how do you maintain the other side of it to keep it hot?
What do you think, Tara?
Yeah, well, I feel like a big thing is, I like what David said about space and like being individuals while also being an entity and a partnership. And I think it's huge. Like, it was big for me when I realized, like, he is supposed to experience certain things that they're not my business, and I'm supposed to experience certain things that are not his. And if the couple can give each other that space to grow and learn and experience and be alone and come up with whatever realizations they're supposed to have in life, like, that is a healthy part of being an individual and a human. And you also have to be that inside of the couple and
So
inside
there's two people,
Yeah.
two heads.
And I think people lose sight of that.
They lose sight that there's two
Yeah.
people, two heads in this marriage. They think different things.
Yeah.
They see different things. They're male and female. They think different things like that. But the word that comes to my mind when I was listening to all three of you was the word indifference. When it gets to be just, I don't care. And perhaps that's when they call David, I don't know, when it gets indifference. I think a lot of people go on for a long time. And why is it? Why do people who are in what we might define, the four of us, as a bad marriage, stay in it? And they never leave. And they leave by death. I mean, I know a woman who was going to divorce her husband. And instead, he died. He never knew that. He never knew that within the next 3 months, she was about to call, Washington's top divorce attorney, one of them, maybe this one right, David Bullitt right here.
Darn.
And I know it. No one else. I looked at her, for me, as it was martyrdom. What she had to go through with him being sick and with what she was really feeling. This is a long-term marriage.
Yeah.
She was done. And then cancer, how unfair, can that possibly be? She had to, people come up to her, oh my God, I'm so sad. And she's not, you know what I'm saying? She's not happy that he's dying. She just don't want to be with him. So indifference, what do you think about that? Have you seen that? What do you think, Tara?
You sound like you want to say something.
Well, sure. I mean, people don't like change. It's a natural thing. People don't like change. It's easy to come home to the same house I've been coming home to for the last 15 years, to think about packing up the garage and moving my things and renting an apartment and getting a room for my son so he can be there when he visits with me. People don't like that. And it goes beyond the traditional, we stay together because we want our kids to have an intent. You don't see as much of that.
Used to be more of that. We're waiting till the last kid leaves.
Yeah, you still have some of that.
Now there's economics.
Yeah.
Now there's that big economics involved.
Especially in this area where it's an expensive place to live, you can't, no matter how good a lawyer you might be, and I don't know how good I am, I like to pretend the clippings are right, but no matter how good a lawyer you are, you can't change how much money there is. So now instead of having one household with one or two incomes, now you have two households with the same amount of money. And who's going to get the TV that Mary likes to watch? And who gets my bed? I like my bed better at Mom's house. And
I want that statue.
Sure.
I want that statue. I'm getting it.
Those are big things that people just would rather go to work and come home and have dinner and watch TV and go to bed and not think about. That's my, my divorce world.
It's easier to be roommates.
So for people who might not know what an affectionate marriage looks like, what does an affectionate marriage look like versus an indifferent marriage? What does it look like? Affection.
Well, you see a lot more intimacy, that kind of thing. Is that what you're talking about? You make the time for someone, and you make sure you have a connection every day. You touch, you hold, So many times people are uncomfortable with each other, so they don't touch anymore, and they need that. You need that connection, I think, on a day-by-day basis. So, being kind, being thoughtful, doing nice things. The 5 love languages. How does your partner?
I was just going to bring that up.
What are
Right in my
those?
mind.
I've never even heard of that.
Oh, you
So
got
we'll
to
get to that, in the next session. But let's move this conversation to the intimate side, and we'll be right back with sexpectations. All right, so we're back, and the topic is going to be pornography. So when I was a teenager, about 3 million years ago, people used to have these magazines. You'd find them in the most amazing places, under mattresses. You'd reach in. Maybe the best day of my adolescent life was when I lost my shoe, and I reached under my brother's bed looking for my shoe. And what did I find but the December gala issue of Playboy? I was about the happiest Zev that you would know in the world. Zev disappeared for a while. I mean, the biggest thing there was, where's Zev? But it's changed. It's not now. It's a cinch. All you have to do is turn your computer on. Anything you want, everything, anything. What you don't want, disgusting, beautiful. It's all there. Is this good or is this bad? I don't know. And I've heard lots of opinions. So who wants to take start out with this one? Is it good for marriage? Is it bad for marriage? What's up?
I'll start. I think it's good. It's exciting. It's a place to play inside of the partnership. So you can watch it together. You can make fun of it. You can laugh. You can try it. It brings that level of excitement, the energy, and the juices flowing. It's
so
just
Tara's
helpful.
game.
Let's
Tara,
do it. I vote
Tara
for yes.
is porno game. Very good.
Yeah.
I think it's. I go first. We start with Woody Allen, who said, on my first date, let's just have sex and get it over with, so that we can go out on a date and have a good time. And pornography, I think, in some ways, especially for professional people who travel, who otherwise might be tempted, I think and I have friends who are musicians, who are professionals, who are other people who travel around, and that's a helpful thing and keeps them focused on what they're supposed to do, and not on what they're not supposed to do.
Nice.
And in terms of, and I agree with you that I think it's a great thing if it stays inside your relationship. Where I have seen it has become a problem is when it overtakes the regular sexual relationship, and you could probably talk more about this, is where, I saw this, and now I need you to put your leg up here and, and bend over and
it's interesting
turn the train on.
It's interesting that you say that, because I heard even some religious people saying that there's some watching porn, and they want their spouses to do what it is that they've seen, and it creates havoc for them in their
sexuality.
It's an outside influence.
Yeah, their sexuality in their marriage becomes, I'm staging a movie, I'm staging a film, and that's where maybe it steps over, and I've seen people have issues in that regard, but you probably have
What do you think,
more
Kim?
insight than I do.
Well, it's beneficial to people who have a certain interest, because now they can find someone else that shares that interest. So the lid for every pot theory, it's
So if they got a fetish, believe me, they got a channel out there on, for you.
Absolutely,
They
right.
got everything,
Right. But one of the problems that we're seeing today, of course, is that people who spend a lot of hours watching porn and masturbating, we can use that word here. Is that
Oh,
okay?
absolutely.
Okay. Then have a difficult time climaxing with their partner. I see that a lot.
How many hours can somebody spend, just out of curiosity?
Hey, well, I was talking to another sex therapist, in Vancouver, and she told me, well, it's lovely in a nice morning with a cup of coffee and masturbating all morning. What a nice. And I thought it was on a podcast, and I was like, hey, you go. I was okay with that.
Right
but the other part of it is the true part of it, that you basically have people having sex with computers, that you're actually having sex with a computer screen. It's hardware, kind of interesting pun, but it's there, and it's a computer, and you got your hands on you or whatever, and is there something where else is it bad?
It's also easy for the porn viewer to not have to be accountable to someone else. I don't have to please this person. I can just be all about me, making it difficult to then re-interact with your spouse. So a lot of times.
But no one on this panel is saying, this is terrible. This is the heathen rage. We're going to get a lot of mail because 4 of us agree. There's some okay stuff about having it from a stimulation point of view, from a
education. Although I do fear our teens growing up thinking that that's their sex ed. I'm really concerned about that.
It is. I mean, I've heard it, because they have kids also, where we used to disappear with magazines. They got devices all over the place.
All over the place.
There's nowhere to hide.
Right,
that
and
they
now
could-
young girls are thinking, I need to look like the porn star to get a guy or to keep a guy.
and I need to do the things, that we're seeing.
That's what I meant, yeah.
Yeah, we grew up in a different time. I grew up looking at the same magazines that
Yeah,
you did. We weren't having
100%.
sex with computers, we
100%.
were having sex with paper. So I'm not sure it's a huge jump there, but yeah, it's very, very different. Our kids grew up very differently than you and I did, and we grew up in the same general area. And
You don't have to hold the computer. You don't have to hold the paper.
No,
That's the difference.
that's the difference. Yeah, you get both hands.
And then, of course, there's interactive stuff too on the computer. You could then be interacting with another person
Oh.
before you know it.
Right, because
Right.
pornography is driven by that part of a profit center where, it comes up, that says there's people out there that, 2 miles away,
Sure.
that want to do you.
Yeah.
And then,
Well, it's certainly probably true.
it could be true, it could be not, but,
But probably not
they
the
just
picture.
had that whole
Probably not.
that whole giant scandal with that, that site, where whatever it
Ashley
was.
Madison.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the Ashley Madison scandal. I mean, that's a clear. I mean, I would never. I just, to me, you'd have to be crazy to, but I understand the temptation. It is huge, and
And it feels so anonymous. You don't think
Yeah.
about the accountability.
2 miles away. I want to you. You know what I'm saying? I'm waiting for you. I mean, it's extremely tempting. Zev would never do it, but I can imagine other people doesn't have the kind of willpower or something where they're going to
you're at
get
a bad
themselves
time,
in
you're at a
trouble.
bad point, you've
You're
been
angry,
fighting,
you're
it's
pissed.
been a bad couple of weeks. I mean, if I don't have sex, it's in a week. I say my hair starts to fall out. And then I know people go months at a time, and for them that's perfectly normal. Others who, are completely different in terms of frequency. So it's just different. But you find somebody that had a bad time of it, bad week, bad weekend, and I'm looking at my computer and looking at ESPN, and up pops Mary, who looks like she's 21 and the most beautiful thing in the world. And then of course she's probably 93 and working from Bombay
In a boiler room.
in a boiler room with a wig. Yeah.
Oh, man.
All right.
Yeah, so I
the-
guess if the relationship is unhealthy already, then it's going to open a door that's ugly and goes into a bad direction. But if you have open communication and you're practiced in being honest and open and vulnerable with each other, then I can see it being a great tool and benefiting the relationship.
So just to slip the domestication part into this. So we get married, we get busy, we have tremendous stresses, we have children, we have work, we got everything. There's a long list. And we start to put those sweats on and flannels, and we don't look very sexy, and we stop grooming, ourselves, and we go, hey, I'm stressed out of my mind. What can we do about that whole issue of, there's a famous cultural psychologist, Esther Perel, who talks about this. She says, domestication, nope, lover. Need to act like a lover, then maybe your lover won't be, having sex with a computer, that kind of thing. What do you guys think about the domestication thing? How would you tell somebody that? Because you mentioned it right off the top.
Yeah.
And it was like almost came down from
Yeah, I think, and I imagine you guys will have some similar and some different opinions, but I think the important thing is you have to preserve that time. So the joke in my house is, if my wife has worked some on a Saturday, so if it's time to go out on Saturday night and she looks fine, she was at work, she looks great, and she comes downstairs, we're in the same class. I said, what are you doing? She said, what do you mean? I said, we're going out Saturday night. She gives me a hard time, but she won't, goes back up the steps and she understands that. So you make that time, that whatever, and if you've got young kids, you can't get out. So when they go to sleep, you have a glass of wine, or you do whatever it is you like to do, whether it's a board game, whether it's your time that your teeth are brushed, you feel good about yourself, whatever that means, and you spend that time together. I think that's really important, whether it's sexually related or just intimacy in another way. I think it's important.
Like a guy said to me, she used to dress up so nice. Now
Yeah,
she just looks this way. It's just terrible. I'm not interested in her. Who would be? That.
Well, maybe he
So I
needs to
said,
tell
well,
her
someone
that.
tell her.
Yeah.
But perhaps you talk. Hey, and he looked at me, and what do you think he said? Hey, Zev, you tell her. Tell her.
Of course.
Exactly. So I'm loving this panel. You guys are fantastic. A good-looking panel. a very knowledgeable panel, and I can't thank you enough. That's all the time we have for tonight. Tara, Kim, and David, thanks for the great panel discussion. To find out more about our marriage panel guests, here's how to connect with them. To connect with Kim Yost, to connect with David Bullitt, to connect with Tara Carbo, I invite you to find out more about how I can help you through my signature program, Recharge Your Marriage Now. Enrich your marital communication skills. Resolve some of that raw conflict. Reconnect for a deeper, more fulfilling relationship. Spice up your marriage and feel the love again. Follow me on Twitter, like my Facebook page, subscribe to my YouTube channel. Check out the podcast on iTunes and iHeartRadio. And finally, try some forgiveness if you can. Hug, kiss, talk, cuddle, get out more, laugh a little, say you're sorry. I know you can. Remember, we're the sum of our mistakes and our successes. So it's okay. We're only human. You can try again. I'm Zev Halpern. See you next time for the Raw Marriage Show.